There are new and crazy reports about the upcoming live-action Star Wars show, The Mandalorian. This includes stuff about Yoda, George Lucas's involvement, and the possibility of Ahsoka Tano showing up in the show.
It's like the news, but for nerds.
Today's shout out goes to Basin Burt. Indeed, Darth Bane was the Sith that created the Rule of Two. Make sure you stay to the end of this video where we will ask another nerd card question. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday to you. You made it through another work week. Congratulations. I'm Josh, of course, and welcome back to the show. You probably thought there wasn't any crazy Star Wars news that happened last night. Well, you would be wrong. Okay, so let's start with the Ahsoka stuff. This is pretty wild. A lot of people are reporting about this recently, going back and digging up quotes from Dave Filoni from the Entertainment Weekly article all about The Mandalorian. Now, within this article, Dave says a ton of really interesting things, but this line in particular got fans a-thinking. Dave said, having a character you wrote walk up to you in full costume on a set you imagined, that was a wonderful thing. And so many people started to bring this quote up, saying that this hints at something from animation coming into the live-action show The Mandalorian. Then there were some retractors of that, explaining that this could have been a character that Dave Filoni wrote for the show of The Mandalorian. But as you find out if you dig into that article in Entertainment Weekly, Dave Filoni was not actually deeply involved in the writing of these scripts. The way it all went down was Jon Favreau went away and wrote these scripts after Kathy Kennedy had put him and Dave Filoni both on this project. And then Jon Favreau sends the scripts to Dave Filoni. Dave likes them, gives him notes, and then they collaborate from there. But Dave Filoni did not write new characters for this show. What he did with the scripts was really just workshopping and helping Jon Favreau out. Now, this is already kind of a crazy story, but if you add in this very interesting answer that Dave Filoni gave at an interview during Star Wars Celebration, it just adds more fuel to the fire. Dave was straight up asked if we'd ever see one of his characters from animation show up in live action, to which he answered laughing and then saying, "Never say never."
Animation, but with the freedom of something like Disney Plus, do you see a world in which someone like Ahsoka could go live action, or anyone else, like some of your animated creations, could make the jump and vice versa?
Yeah, you know, never say never. You never know. It's interesting. It's really interesting.
And a lot of people looked at this interview and they were like, look, dude, look at the way he's laughing, the way he's smiling. He obviously knows something, but can't say it. And then he says, never say never. So if you're looking at both those quotes, you can really start to see why fans are thinking that there's a high probability we will see one of Dave Filoni's characters from the animated series show up on The Mandalorian. Now, there's nothing here that exactly hints at it being Ahsoka Tano, but if I were to speculate on why it could be Ahsoka Tano, I would just suggest to you that Jon Favreau, having written these scripts, and him and Dave Filoni being friends since Iron Man 1, then you add in the fact that Favreau is writing all of these scripts and then sending them to Dave Filoni. Don't you think it would be really interesting if Favreau wrote Ahsoka Tano into that show, knowing that that was Dave Filoni's baby and Dave Filoni's favorite character that he's ever created? So there's some precedence and evidence to suggest that Ahsoka would show up, but if it's not Ahsoka, it could be any number of awesome characters from Star Wars Rebels or maybe even the Clone Wars. But here's to hoping it's Ahsoka Tano. That's what we all want, and our minds would just be collectively blown if on November 12th we get to see Ahsoka Tano in live action. So of course that's really crazy, and I want to know what everybody thinks about that. Let us know in the comment section below, but that's not even the wildest stuff coming out about The Mandalorian. Jason Ward just did a video on his YouTube channel where he scooped this crazy bit all having to do with Yoda in The Mandalorian. Potential spoilers here for The Mandalorian. I don't think this ruins anything really crazy, but if you don't want to know anything about The Mandalorian, perhaps check out this video now. Now, what Jason is reporting is that there will be several of Yoda's species put in to The Mandalorian, that this will actually happen in episode 6, and that the species that Yoda is a part of will actually be named as well. And to add to this, George Lucas was consulted and will have a lot to do with this episode and the way that they use the Yoda species characters, and he's said to even be getting a credit for this episode. So, I mean, like, holy crap, that is really crazy for canon. If you're a canon head like me, like, Yoda's species has never really been touched on that much in canon at all. We saw Yaddle. There's not really an explanation given other than that she's like a female Yoda species in the Phantom Menace. You don't really get much from that. And so there's a lot of mystery surrounding Yoda and the species that he is, and we're going to get a lot of those answers in The Mandalorian Mandalorian, and we're going to be getting those answers from, or at least reviewed by, the creator himself, George Lucas. Now, this does remove some of the mystery, seemingly, from Yoda and his character, but I don't know, I still think it's gonna be pretty awesome. I am very curious though, what do all of you guys think about this? Like, would you be down for this? Are you gonna freak out if we learn more about Yoda? Is the stuff you don't wanna know about? Whatever your thoughts are about Yoda and his, being involved with George Lucas in The Mandalorian, let me know in the comment section below. But frankly, given this Mandalorian news, like, I'm super hyped. Like, I've always been very excited for The Mandalorian, like, just based on the creatives involved. And I've always said that, like, it deserves more buzz. Not enough people are talking about it, and I can't wait until this show starts blowing people away, and then the show starts trending and becomes this really big thing. But man, like, Yoda's species, possible Ahsoka Tano, George Lucas being involved, like, this is gonna be absolutely wild. The potential for this show to have a lot of content in live action Star Wars, and the amount of different things they can touch on or places they can go is mind-blowing. So I'm really excited that The Mandalorian is a thing, and I think it's gonna be a huge staple, keystone piece of content for Star Wars for years to come. And also, as far as my personal takeaway for the Ahsoka thing, like, there's just part of me that doubts it. Like, I just doubt it, right? Like, it technically could work, but that would just be so wild to do. I mean, I could see why Dave would want to do it, but wouldn't that sort of detract from the main character in the show? So I don't know, I'm skeptical about it being Ahsoka, but I'm very willing to let that happen. Like, that would be absolutely amazing. Also, it's important to note that Jon Favreau is already working on season 2. They are definitely doing a season 2 of this show, so they expect it to be really popular, and you probably know this already, but this show is said to have a budget almost bigger than any other TV show ever. So despite it being sort of in that old school, grungy, more gritty area of the Star Wars mythos, they've got the budget to do insane things. So maybe there'll be some crazy space battles, could be some Jedi stuff in there. Like, there's potential for any and every crazy live action Star Wars thing that you like to show up in this show. And then lastly, before we get out of here, just wanted to touch on this really recent news story. This comes from Bespin Bulletin. They are saying that the reshoots for The Rise of Skywalker are indeed finished. In fact, I'll read this post from their Instagram right now to just kind of give you an idea of what they're saying. It says, last week I reported that Bad Robot headquarters in Santa Monica was the location the most recent reshoots for The Rise of Skywalker were taking place. Well, as yesterday, it seems as though it may be over. Reshoots at Bad Robot headquarters began on September 30th and was expected to run until October 9th. The Bad Robot building posted signs forbidding vehicles from parking outside the building for 10 days. Generators started appearing outside of the front of the building, along with a lot of other trailers on September 30th and October 1st, with the majority located behind Bad Robot and a side street next to the building. October 4th saw a dip in the amount of trailers and generators at the location, with the front of the building being clear and less trailers behind the building, and I suspect things were winding down early, but it was not the case. Following that weekend, more trailers and generators appeared. As of October 10th, it appears as though filming has ended. All the generators and every single trailer is gone. Vehicles are now allowed to park outside and near Bad Robot headquarters. Okay, so make of that what you will. I mean, it sounds like a lot of reshoots were going on with a lot of different people at Bad Robot headquarters. That is just possibly one location of where the majority of the reshoots are going on. There could be other stuff being shot, pickups here and there, different things like that. But to me, it sounds like it was rather extensive reshooting. So I don't know, what they're changing, but it seems like they probably changed a lot. No specifics on what actors or actresses were there, but with all those trailers and it being shut down that much, yeah, that seems pretty wild. So they probably crammed a lot of stuff into a very small, short period of time. And again, there are a lot of rumors that whatever they're doing with those reshoots are going to be CGI intensive, that they might be changing a very big scene in the film that's CGI heavy. So they've got time now, but they've only got about 2 months to finish this stuff, edit it, and get all that CG work done. So cutting it a little bit close, but I'm just grateful that the reshoots are over and that now we can feel a little bit more comfortable about them actually nailing it and getting this film ready for December 20th. So that's the news. Let me know what you think about the reshoots and all that business in the comment section below. Now, real quick, I want to mention this Sunday, I am sitting down with Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net. We're going to do a little live stream here on Star Wars Sunday, talking about leaks, talking about different things that he's been hearing. So if you've had questions about these crazy leaks, I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, these leaks are fake, I hate it, or whatever. Come by Sunday, listen to the conversation that Jason and I have. Maybe you'll get a little insight website. You can, of course, ask either one of us any questions that you want as well, as we will be doing Q&A. Oh, and also real quick, on Saturday, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're doing a big old live stream talking about Secret Wars and Battle World coming to the MCU. It's also serving as our 100,000 subscriber celebration live stream. So come by and celebrate with us tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And now let's check the nerd card before we get out of here. I want to know what Star Wars Rebels voice actor has recently been in the news for a swear-filled rant that they had on a podcast. It was pretty crazy. It's been making the rounds on social media. What Star Wars voice actor had that swear-filled rant? Answer that question in the comment section below. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.